I'm Kathy Van Ness, General Manager of the Golden Door, and I'm so excited to be here tonight with Natalie Caine, who is our workshop presenter this week at the Golden Door, doing some very magical things. Natalie Caine reinvented her career to fit her new passion, helping people travel their road of change. She has shared wisdom, tips, and comfort with thousands of people across the country as they deal with happy and challenging life transitions. Natalie herself has lived a long list of changes. She knows transitions are places of pauses, feeling, floating above your life for a new view of thinking. So what we want to know tonight, I think, is tell us about some of the changes you've personally experienced.
Oh, well, started at a really young age. One of them was first year of college, went to my dream college, and my family decided we were moving from east to west. So I began again to apply to colleges. And then fast forward, you know how happy you are when you think you found your partner, you're married, and envisioning your future. So what happened was I was married, got critically ill out of no warning, and my baby was 18 months old. So there was a big shift there of my image of motherhood shifting because I was ill, and my marriage got very, very rocky because no one expected illness, and for whatever reason, my husband was not able to handle that out of control piece.
That's tough.
So that was a
Very tough.
tough time of life. Then another really shocking piece was my best friend that I had known 20 years committed suicide.
Oh my goodness.
No warning of that. And, you know, I still feel her deeply with me and her children.
So you've made some transition yourself, some profound transition.
I have. Wanted to learn how to do that.
Wow. Well, we're going to pause on transition for a minute and talk about transition in life and career and moving. And this is going to be a really interesting question because it was a really hard question to put down, so I'm going to take it really slow. Don't worry, there's no trick questions.
Okay, good.
Nothing. This is all fun. This is all fun, and you're in safe space. Living small is something millennials are talking about today. They're talking about saving money, not living in overburdened homes. They really want to have the freedom of an experience. The absence of waste and the concept we don't need to have so many big spaces in our lives is a very strong trend with the youth today. But when you think about people retiring and having to consider moving to smaller homes, it can be traumatic.
Very.
Why do you think it's so hard for the parents who are hearing their millennials talking about their lives to be small and more natural? Why, when their children are talking about why is that? I can see it in a past generation, but why in this generation is that not more easily understood? Does that make sense?
So, Kathy, do you mean why are the parents
That's
struggling
right.
with their children choosing this path?
Exactly, and it's sort of saying it must be okay.
It must be okay.
I'm young and looking for small.
Yes.
Why is it harder to be older and want to downsize?
Oh, so like for the baby boomers to downsize?
The baby boomers particularly.
Okay, well, that's another transition I did.
Exactly.
I did.
Really
I actually downsized. And what was difficult are the stories that you tell yourself. If we downsize, sweetie, I'm not going to have enough room for my kids and grandkids. That was the number one conflict because I like my family to be close by. What if I regret that we don't have enough space for an office for you and an office for me? So it's the unfamiliar. And I will tell you on the good news, I am so happy that we sold the house and really downsized.
Me too. Oh my
so
God,
happy
yes,
and left this community to a brand new community, and it's a fresh start.
But you would almost think for a moment, though, that there's shows on tiny spaces and shows on tiny houses, that the trend is to be maybe smaller for a while and not quite so big. Does that help people make that decision easier?
That it's in a trend?
Yeah.
You know,
Which
I think it is a trend.
Absolutely.
And I think it'll increase. We don't have the land, we don't have the space.
Environment, energy.
Environment issues, sustainability. I think it's true. It'll be a comfort zone, but for most of us, that's just an umbrella. Each person sort of goes inside and goes, wow, I don't know how I'm going to be able to live with this small. We hang out in the kitchen, and now kitchens are really minimal.
Yeah.
So it's
interesting.
It's a kitchen thing. It's a kitchen thing.
I like my small kitchen. You're once quoted saying, "Is the life I'm living the life that wants to live in me?" Or it's someone else that you quoted, Palmer. So I'm going to ask you the question in reverse. Tell us about the life that's living in you.
I am really, really happy. And I had no idea. You know, like, see this edge? I went there and took it. I didn't fly. You know, I definitely bounced around for a long time. But I love the creativity. I love the communities. I love the people that I get to meet. You know, I learn so much. And it's growing me. I feel like my life grows me now.
Isn't that a wonderful thing?
Yeah.
Did it take you a long time to sort of make that happen? Or do you feel it's something you sort of realized early on that that's what you needed to do?
Well, I think that the foundation for me, having gone through so many changes at a young age, started to build a huge curiosity, you know, of how do we live a life that has meaning? And I think that was always a pulse of what's meaningful. And that motivated me, as well as getting help from other people and asking for help.
I have nature when all else fails.
Oh yeah, that's
I think
my
this is a
favorite.
great quote. I have nature when all else fails, and wounds or scars helped build me an inner self.
Yes.
So there's two questions here. Can you describe that stronger inner self you have today? But the more interesting question for me was, what nature? Was there something, tell me about that nature.
Oh, you brought a memory to me, but like right there in my heart. What nature? I'm going to go for that first.
Yeah.
So when I was going through really dark times and unpredictable changes and a lot of physical pain in this illness, I didn't plan it, but what came to me is whoever was there with me, I would say, if you just could take me outside to stand under the moon, I know I would feel better. And so that was my beginning touch that came from whatever idea. And so here I am all these years later. I, in the middle of the night, will look out my window to see where is the moon, or I could be in my pajamas ready for bed, and I want to run out and see the light of the moon.
So that is your nature.
It is my nature to connect to the light of the moon or any nature out here at the door.
That's so great to hear that. It gives me goosebumps for you.
Works for me.
I know, right?
Works for me.
So you once said something else. A different way of making choices is to set your feelings. Give yourself airtime. So describe for my guest tonight airtime. What is airtime? How do you give yourself airtime?
Breathing would be good, don't you think? You know, I have a habit of holding my breath, and so I started as a habit, airtime, humming. Then at least I know I'm breathing. So it was a simple thing. But on a larger scale, I don't think we give ourselves enough space to simply be without an answer. We so long mentally want to get an answer. And so the challenge is bringing through some of your feminine muses to just be with airtime, be with space, be with an unknown.
Do you think people are afraid of that? To have that moment of quiet, that things might evolve in them that would make them not be able to have that good quality airtime, because it should be good.
Well, that's a fantastic point. I think we forget that it can be good.
And it can be
to totally be still.
Right.
Versus fearful
Right.
that a demon will rise up from the dark stillness.
Right. How do you teach people they need to stop? You know, I'm going to advance to a little bit. People are really busy. They're busy here. You have busy schedules. You have busy lives. You know, it seems always so easy to say we have to stop and check into ourselves. We have to have airtime. We know this. But at the same time, we're under more stress than ever before. How do people find the time to check into themselves?
Well, this is one of my golden nuggets because it really
I'm going
works.
to ask you for another one.
Another one? Okay. So this golden nugget really, really works for me effortlessly. And the way I check in, I can be in the car. It doesn't mean I'm always present moment because no one's present all the time. You lose it and you regain it. Checking in for me started out mentally. What am I thinking about? What am I feeling? And what do I need today? So that gives the opening from the mind that then can draw me to the heart. And I'm staying connected to me that way.
So if we can remember those three things at certain points, especially the car, I mean, certainly there's a lot of time in the traffic in the car.
Time.
There's a lot of time there to do those. Can you say them again so we can hear them one more time?
What am I thinking about today? Sidebar, is it really worth my time? Would I like to not be thinking about that, if you expand that question? And how am I feeling? And along with that, research has really shown that for it to integrate mind, body, spirit, ask this 5 times. What am I feeling? No, what am I really feeling? And then the other question is, what do I need today? What do I, Natalie, really need today? And so you're connected.
What other things do you do to stay positive yourself? Because being positive is 90% of motivation forward.
That's a great line, motivation forward. Creativity. I think if all else fails, one for me, is nature. Yes. I mean, here we go. It's like making it available to me, stepping into it, and throwing myself into something creative. It can be cooking, it can be just doodling. For me, it's writing and photography as well. But creativity, I think, is a very big healer. And to really just play with it, enjoy seeing what's fun for you. It's like, if it's not fun, then don't do it.
So I'm going to go to a little bit of different space. When you think about people's sometimes unrealistic expectations of what is defined as success, this is going to be quite an interesting twist, though. Do you see success being defined differently by the generations? Think about this, the younger generation today
very much
versus the baby boomers or X's and even Y's. Are they are they more realistic than their parents about success in their life or what they're expecting and defining as success? Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. It's a really good question because we're all still unfolding that question, and especially as parents. I've learned so much being with kids of those ages that it inspires me in the sense that they're not as fear-driven.
Right.
As I was or as my parents were. So that when they're sitting with an unknown or wondering, do I go this direction or that, they seem, and we're talking generalities, but they'll take a leap because they don't have the mindset that says, well, I'm staying here forever. They have the voice inside that says, I'm going for this, and it doesn't mean forever.
Right.
So there's a lot more freedom and choice that way.
Right. So it would appear that we don't know what their pressure points will be in the future, clearly, but their idea of success is definitely not the same idea as success. They're not as driven only by work. They're driven maybe more by the balance of life.
They're driven by balance.
Can't we learn from that?
They want to be successful, especially the older they get. It's the same story when it comes to falling in love and providing for their family. A different trigger emerges then.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is your second career. What kind of new vibrancy did it bring to you?
Oh, what a great question. Why do it if it doesn't, right?
Exactly.
Find something else. I am amazed because I had no idea it would be this creative, where I would learn so much from other people in the moment, and that I would take the risks that I've taken by having this new career that I imagined and then just flew into. I am very happy doing what I'm doing.
Do you find it hard to relate to someone who can't have that same freedom to make that leap?
No, that's a really good question. I really have compassion for someone. It's that part of us. I believe we have so many voices inside like an orchestra. And so if we've been in the habit of just being the drum or the violin and haven't had an opportunity to bring out some cymbals, I understand their fear of, that's not who I am, Natalie.
Right.
I just can't do it right now.
Right.
And so then it's tell me more about that.
Right.
Yeah.
When you think about retirement today, historically people retired at 65. Historically, that was the big mark. You got the watch, and you ran off into the sunset and traveled, maybe. But now, people are working into their 70s and into their 80s. So do you see these as shifting voices in our heads as to when is the right time to retire? And is the pressure to retire actually changing when you talk to people, making this sort of line fuzzy?
Oh, that's a great image, a fuzzy line.
Right? It is a fuzzy line because
it's a fuzzy
you
line.
can be 70, 75, 80, 90 and be just as important as you were when you were 50 or 60. And so to me, it's not like a hard line anymore. It's about the wisdom.
It's about the wisdom, and it's about hearing your own voice. It's one of the joys of getting older, is being able to hear your own pulse that says, I don't need to stop working. I don't want to stop working, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm leaving this. But more than not across the country, I'm seeing where people are beginning something new that they never thought they would be doing.
Even third careers.
Absolutely.
Fourth careers.
Fifth careers.
I know, I see it all, absolutely.
Yeah, I met someone sidebar. I mean, you know me and my stories, so I'll do a short one. But he loved surfing as a college kid, and he's definitely in the baby boomer, retired. He went to a university. He figured this out, and he said, could I offer early surfing to your students as a way to start their day?
Wow, isn't that fun?
It's fantastic.
I bet it did great too.
Yeah.
I bet it did great. In the world today, people are busy. I mentioned this. Here at the Golden Door with our guest, one of your teachings about feeling better is checking in hour to hour. And I want to ask this one more time because I want to hear it one more time because it's really important. I just want to know, how do busy people find the time to practice? You know, they come here because we can protect you and allow you the freedom of stopping and getting off the track. But when you leave, where will the time be?
Well, what we all hope for is a reality check. Like you started the conversation, you know, it's those unrealistic expectations that can depress us and disappoint us. So the reality check is when you get home, if you've had this experience, set up some space that visually reminds you how to practice and pass it on. I mean, I feel like all of us can help each other by passing it on and choosing one. Be practical. Choose one thing that you'll do in a day that helps calm you down.
Oh, I like that. That's very cool. So what would that be? What would the one thing be that could...
Well, there's so many in my thesaurus, but seriously, humming. Humming is a great relaxer.
You don't think they'll think we're slightly crazy walking around humming?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little awkward, but you know you're breathing and it's a relaxation. And you don't need to have any tools with you, you have it.
What's the best change you ever made?
Wow, what's the best change? Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. Building my inner world.
Nice.
Because no matter where I go, I have myself. And I keep building that and building that. Whether it's prayer, meditation, finding ways to shift myself into calm, talking to the unseen energies that are available to us.
So what do you do for fun?
I love hiking. I love grabbing my camera. I love meeting with friends and family. And I still cook.
I like that. Cooking's fun.
I find it creative and very relaxing.
So would you be able to share with us one rule you have about your life, if you have a rule?
Wow, good one. One rule. Well, there it is. Thank you, Kathy. It's to check in. I think that would be
to stop and check in.
To stop, like you said, stillness, pausing, and just check in during the day and evening.
Every time we close our interviews, we ask the famous question, which I think you know. We leave these great golden nuggets for our guests. So I'm going to ask you for maybe one more. What would be a golden nugget you could leave for our guests tonight that they could take home and it's something that they could use?
Practice pausing.
That's a perfect, we remember that, right? Practice pausing.
Practice pausing.
That's a perfect golden nugget.